Want a break from the ads? If you tap now to watch a short video, you'll receive 30 minutes of ad-free music.
Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga, maayong buntag. I hope everyone is doing well. For today's episode, we'll address a heavy but important topic, Ilaw sa Kahirapan, providing enlightenment towards poverty. We will talk about poverty in the Philippines, specifically Mindanao, and its never-ending struggle that continues because of many difficult problems that make it hard to solve. I am Mark Florence Gomez, your host for today.
And I am Sam Mendoza, your co-host. Mark, a lot of people have asked what our title means. Care to explain?
Of course. So, Ilaw sa Kahirapan translates to light in poverty in Tagalog. This episode claims to give attention to poverty, represented as light, to help the ongoing issue of poverty and allow people to see the effects of poverty on our society today. Don't worry, everyone, we're here to provide you with answers. Think about it. Poverty isn't just about not having cash in your wallet. It's a social problem that impacts people's lives, making it tough to get an education, hard to see a doctor when you're sick, and almost impossible to find decent work. So, let's address the uncomfortable truths and explore meaningful ways to pave a path toward a future where everyone has the opportunity to live a comfortable life. Since we're focusing on Mindanao, Sam, why don't you tell us the poverty rate here?
Unfortunately, the numbers don't look too good. Mindanao has the country's highest percentage of poor, accounting to 40.4%, followed by Luzon at 34.3% and Visayas at 25.3%. Moreover, Mindanao has four of the top 5 poorest regions in the Philippines: Region 9, Region 10, Region 12, Region 13, and the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, all of which had a poverty rate of more than 39% in 2015.
It's so disappointing to see Mindanao. No, Philippines in general, to be affected by poverty.
Anyway, we have a guest today who will be giving us more information about the impact of poverty in Mindanao. Welcome, Risa.
Hi, Mark, Sam. Thank you for inviting me today.
Of course. Now, could you share your insights about the impact of poverty?
Well, poverty originates from a lack of access to the essential things in life like education, healthcare, and job opportunities. Because of this, families struggle to get ahead, and it creates a cycle where kids miss out on schooling, health problems go untreated, and there just aren't enough stable jobs around. It's like a never-ending loop that keeps its people stuck in poverty. We also can't forget that Philippines has a bad government and corruption. Though, poverty in Mindanao is challenging because of some specific reasons. There are conflicts happening here that force people to leave their homes, making it hard to earn money and ruining important things like schools and hospitals. We know as well that Mindanao relies on farming, but environmental issues make it tough for farmers to grow food and earn money. All these things together make it hard for the government to help everyone and stop poverty in Mindanao.
That's right. I wonder where all our taxes go. Next thing you know, our politicians suddenly have bonga homes, nice cars, and all that fancy stuff. Whereas the majority of the Philippines struggle with just getting by.
That was some great insights you got there, Risa. Thank you for taking the time to share with us and our audience about this issue. We'll see you soon.
Now that we've been informed about the background of our topic, let's explore the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically on SDG, no poverty, and its connection to Christian morality. For this, we have a special guest. Good morning, Charles. How are you today?
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be part of this new episode.
I love this energy here. Anyway, my co-host here, Sam, has prepared a couple of questions for you today. Are you ready for it?
Hit me.
Charles, can you tell us how SDG number 1 and Christian morality, these seemingly distinct topics, relate to each other?
Absolutely, Sam. Christianity teaches that it's essential to help people who don't have much. It says everyone should be treated nicely and fairly, just like Jesus helped others in need. Its teachings revolve around fairness and kindness towards all, envisioning a world where everyone receives the necessary support for fulfilling life. Christianity prioritizes assisting those who are facing difficulties, actively engaging in actions like sharing resources, advocating, and improving the lives of the less fortunate. Through these values and actions, Christian morality aligns with efforts to create a more compassionate and just world, addressing the root causes of poverty while supporting the dignity and well-being of all people. Now, eliminating poverty is not just a social and economic goal. It also aligns deeply with Christian morality's core principles. When we talk about the human person, we're acknowledging every person's dignity as created in the image of God. Poverty, on the other hand, undermines this dignity.
That's a great perspective, Charles. Now, could you elaborate on the correlation between poverty and the authentic image of God?
Certainly, Sam. Poverty restricts people from experiencing their full potential, denying them access to education, healthcare, and basic human rights. When people are in this situation, they can show all the goodness within them.
Are you saying that it's not only about lacking things like money or food, but also about taking away their humanity?
Sounds just about right, Mark. Christian morality emphasizes authentic freedom, a freedom that enables others to reach their full potential. Poverty acts as a barrier towards that freedom, basically forcing people into limited choices and a cycle of suffering. Does that sound like freedom to you?
You're right. It's eye-opening to think that poverty actually restricts people's freedom and keeps them stuck in these difficult situations. Though, I'm pretty curious. How do you believe conscience plays a role in addressing poverty from a Christian morality perspective?
Conscience is essential as it calls people to recognize their responsibility towards those in need. Through a well-formed conscience, one is moved to act against poverty, support those going through hard times, and try to make the world fairer for everyone.
That's right, Charles. Thank you for answering all these questions. Mark, do you have anything else to say?
Thank you, Simon Charles, for this excellent discussion between Christian morality and SDG. Your insights have been enlightening. I hope this encourages our audience to reflect and take meaningful action in addressing poverty through the lens of Christian morality. Before we dive deeper into this episode, let me ask you, did you guys know that the Bible is one of the best teachers we have in how to treat people in poverty?
I agree with you, Mark.
Really? How?
According to the Old Testament, Leviticus chapter 19, verses 9 to 10 says, when you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Do not go over your vineyard a second time or pick up the fallen grapes. Leave them for the poor and the foreigner. I am the Lord your God.
But what does this verse mean, Mark?
The verse, Leviticus chapter 19, verses 9 to 10, shows how the Israelites harvest their fields altogether, leaving some crops in fields for the poor to harvest to show both love and respect for them. It is a beautiful book showing how we should share our blessings with the poor.
So poverty also existed long before?
Yes, it wasn't just mentioned in the Old Testament, but it was also mentioned in the New Testament. In the New Testament, Matthew chapter 25, verse 40, the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Matthew chapter 25, verse 40 teaches us to serve others just like Jesus. It showcases how Jesus, a king, serves his people. We are all made in God's image, and it is our duty to help others regardless of their state in life.
These teachings guide us toward the actions we can take and how they can help us become better instruments of God. Ian, how do you propose we follow these teachings? Ian, do you have any idea?
Perhaps one way of following these teachings is through donations. Sharing our blessings to the poor is one way of uplifting the teachings of Leviticus 19 verse 9 to 10. Another way would be spreading awareness about how we should treat them and that everyone is part of God's kingdom and invited to His kingdom with people's attentions. We can strive for a better future, ensuring everyone is treated fairly and given equal opportunities.
Wow! I rarely read the Bible, so this was interesting. That aside, let's start discussing personal responsibility and how we can all help with this ongoing problem. Let's welcome Risa once again to provide some things people can do to contribute to this problem.
Hello again, everyone. First of all, they can exercise their freedom and encourage everyone to care for and support each other. When our actions match what we believe is right, it can make a big difference in fighting poverty. Amazing, isn't it? It's very insightful to know that small actions can lead to bigger impacts if we work together.
I'm glad that we have the same thoughts. It's like dominoes or chain reactions, wherein one person influences another, and then that person influences another. It's impressive to think how much you're actually doing yourself. But what are these specific things that we can do to actually contribute to the solution?
Right. Thank you for that question. I'd like to enumerate these solutions one by one. We should advocate for policies promoting economic justice. Well, we all know that economic inequalities, such as income, have now led to some living in poverty. But take note that income is not the only inequality. There are still many more. This is the reason why we should definitely advocate for these policies.
I agree. Also, one of the leading causes of income inequality in the Philippines, like what was said earlier, is its history of corruption. This justifies our right to advocate these policies. Although, according to USAID, projects in collaboration with the US have already been proposed, such as Beacon or the Better Access and Connectivity Project. Basically, it addresses gaps in internet and connectivity problems, which would increase employment and improve cybersecurity.
Wow, I definitely didn't know that. It's awe-inspiring that the government has started to take action and what is left is to us. Now, I would like to move on to the second plan of action that we should take, which is to support aiding the impoverished. Charles and Ian, what can you say about this?
I would agree. Actually, public schools and state universities are perfect examples of this, because these require little to no money. It opens up opportunities and ensures everyone has access to a basic right, education.
Exactly. Public institutions are still not that developed here in the Philippines. But I can say from personal experience that some public schools actually offer excellent education, although I will say that the majority of public infrastructures still require work along with better teachers as well.
Great insights, both of you. It is essential that we support programs like these that actually help the poor while still also advocating for more solutions that would give all the basic rights and needs of civilians.
Alright, I say it's a wrap for our discussion.
Alright, we've tackled the background of poverty, as well as its moral and biblical aspects. And lastly, how to take action to address it. Other than that, there's still an urgent need to help all people who are in need, specifically those who are not monetarily stable and secure. Despite the country's persistent efforts to fix this problem, their efforts are not enough to help people who are struggling with poverty.
As we end this episode, we want to thank you all for listening to this episode today. We hope this podcast has provided you with different perspectives on this issue and start taking action. We also want to thank our guest speakers, Risa, Charles, Ian, and most importantly, Mark, for making this episode possible. Till next time!